Healthcare is too expensive. Employers are offsetting costs onto their employees. Who will make health benefits affordable for hard-working Americans and their families?
You will! This is the Empowering Plans Podcast, a show dedicated to helping you once again emphasize the benefits in your benefit plan. Now prepare to learn,
Plan,
save,
and protect with the Phia Group.
Welcome, everyone, to the Empowering Plans Podcast. My name is Corey Crigger. Happy to be with you here and happy to be joined by the lovely Cindy Merrell. Cindy, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I have to start off by saying happy Derby, Corey.
Happy Derby to you, Cindy. And if for those of you with the viewing experience now with the Phia podcast, you could tell that Cindy dressed to the nines with her fascinator, her jacket, her floral print. That's right. It is that time of the year again. We will be recapping the Derby. We will be giving you the information that you can't get anywhere else. How to win money, which is exactly what Cindy and I did last year, if you listened. And Cindy, shame on everyone for not listening.
Did we? Did everybody on the call bet their picks last year, Corey? I mean, you did pick them. And you got all the money. You took your wife out for a nice dinner, huh? Is that what happened?
You know, just to catch everyone up that aren't devout followers to the Phia Empowering Plans podcast, this podcast with these two people, myself and Cindy, accurately predicted the trifecta, which paid off something like 500 to 1. It was an insane, there was a big long shot that won, Mystic Dan. The winning three horses for the trifecta were Mystic Dan, Sierra Leone, and oh gosh, I should, whatever. The other horse that won, that they all came through, and the picks were given on this podcast by me. But the true devastating part of that story was I switched my picks at the last minute and did not bet the same trifecta that I gave out on the Empowering Plans podcast. So our CEO, Adam Russo, loves to tell the story. He came on this podcast and told the story. And every event that I've been with him since that, he has retold the story. So, but you know what? The past is the past. We have a new year. We're going to pick winners again. I'm sure I'm going to be right again because obviously this is science, not luck. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. But you know, Cindy, we'll get into the Derby a little bit later. We do have to talk about something substantive to be able to use Pat Santos's time and the Phia platform here. So, you know, we batted around a couple topics, but really the one topic that I think that everyone's talking about right now is AI. How is AI going to be used in business? How is AI going to change our day to day? What can we do to leverage AI? Cindy and I are going to take a little bit more of a lighthearted view of AI today and maybe just give a couple case studies of how not to use AI. How does that sound, Cindy?
Oh, that sounds perfect. I will tell you, AI, I know it's a very hot topic right now, but in law, it is a hot topic for all of the wrong reasons. Corey, as an attorney, you know that we are seeing things like there is a case right now where a court in Colorado is asking the attorneys for the very well-known MyPillow company to explain how they turned in a brief with cases that don't exist. Clearly, they used AI and there was hallucination there. And the judge is asking those attorneys, why would I not sanction you? You turned in misrepresented, made up cases to a court. Now, another thing in subrogation, on the subrogation side, because you know I love subrogation, I'm subrogation champion over here. I love it. There is a plaintiff's firm that I'm sure everybody on listening right now has heard of, Morgan and Morgan. They got themselves into some hot water as well, turning into the court some AI generated briefs with some additional hallucinations. So it is a hot topic in legal for a lot of the wrong reasons. Corey, now you had some insights on AI as well.
Yeah, but before we get to the case, the example that I was going to talk about, can we just commend the AI community for the spin job with the term AI hallucinations? Because what they're saying is that our AI makes up, and in this particular case with MyPillow and with Morgan & Morgan, it was making up case law that did not exist. And
Yes.
then it was giving opinions and basing assumptions on completely fabricated case law. So, great job from Sam Altman or whomever else is developing the term and is in the PR control for AI. Hallucinations is just our AI is making things up, and we really don't know why, and we can't really stop it. Nothing to see there, everyone. It's all going to be fine. You can find different podcasts to talk about the big pitfalls of AI. That's not neither here nor there, but yeah, it's to me, I always crack up when I hear that term, because it's just, yeah, our AI just made things up and we just went along with it because we didn't do any real legwork on it. But anywho, not only is AI making some splashes with some questionable case law citations, I found in prepping for this probably one of my favorite videos since the cat filter video that came from inside of a courthouse. We'll set the scene for you. We're at the New York State Court of Appeals. So you have a 5-panel judge. This is an appellate courtroom. What the issue coming forward is that a man, and I'm going to leave his name out of this because I think a lot of this was just for the publicity. So we don't need to give any additional publicity, but you can find this with a quick Google search. You basically have a plaintiff who is appealing a lower court determination over a contractual dispute with a former employer. The plaintiff in this case, who had lost at the lower court, is now appealing to the New York State Court of Appeals. He is not represented by an attorney. He has signed all proper paperwork in the court of New York to represent himself. He shows up to this 5-panel appellate court, this 5-judge panel, and he then goes to play a video. And on the video is an AI generated man that then starts delivering his oral argument for him. And very quickly, within seconds of this starting, the chief judge stops the proceedings, asks who this is this a person of record, what's going on? And the plaintiff says, well, I did such a poor job before that I thought it would be great if I just put my argument into this generative AI. By the way, his company now is a generative AI company. He's labeled on LinkedIn as an entrepreneur. So, and he's a 72-year-old man, I believe. So he's with it. He's on top of it. But he says, I struggled a little bit communicating in the lower court. So I generated this AI. It's going to make my argument for me. He then gets dressed down by the judge. Long story short, he has to deliver his argument himself. It did not go well. He stumbled over some words. It's a tough thing to do. You're not a lawyer, so you're in a tough spot there. But the judge really admonished him for being like, you're not going to use this courthouse as a way to promote your business interest, which is kind of what it felt like he was doing. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but it was a very funny scene, and about a 1 minute and 30-second video, I think on CNN.com. If you just search New York Court of Appeals AI, you will find this video. But yeah, just lots of issues with using AI, right, Cindy?
Yeah, but I mean, he gets a lot of points for his creativity. I mean, not only is it marketing, now we know that the court wasn't going to allow that. Who knew that? I mean, I think we all knew that, but nothing said that he couldn't until the court said he couldn't. So, it was interesting. Creative. We'll give him creative.
Good for him.
Really,
some people got to shoot their own shot, and he did. It did not work, but in another real sense, here we are talking about it. Headlines on CNN talking about it. Again, I'm not using his name purposely. If it was a publicity stunt, it seems like it probably worked. So,
yes.
His generative AI is getting out there for better or for worse in the industry. But yeah, so I think, Cindy, we say all that to say that, AI is the future of business. It's going to be the future of how business is done. But we're still in the Wild West here, right? We're still pushing the boundaries. We're also seeing that AI has limited capacities in terms of the legal field and legal use, the hallucinations. So whatever solution you're using now, however you're pulling information, vet your partners, vet your vendors, make sure that you're using top of the line technology like Sophia. And if you have any questions about that from our consulting department, you can feel free to reach out to me. Make sure you're using credible sources for your large language models or your other AI solutions that you're implementing in business. With that, Cindy, what do you think? Do you think we did the minimum required to call this a Phia podcast? You think we can move to the real topic now?
I think we have. I think it is a sufficient amount of actual information. Yes.
Absolutely. I do as well. So let's get to the point. The reason that we're all here, the reason that all of you are tuned in, the Kentucky Derby. First Saturday in May, Cindy and I, of course, out of our Louisville, Kentucky office. Cindy, one thing I want to say about the Louisville, Kentucky office. How many more employees do we have in this office at the time of this podcast than we recorded the podcast last year? It's got to be at least 50 more employees.
It's if it's not 50, I would be shocked. It is. We are hustling and bustling here in the Louisville office for sure. I walk down the hallway every day. I'm like, they do work here. And I try to remember everybody's name, but I will. And I'm glad to have them here. We are growing exponentially here in the Louisville office for sure.
We sure are. And hustling and bustling is the words that describe the city of Louisville, not only this week, but in the weeks leading up to the Kentucky Derby. It's a huge celebration for our city. It's a huge boon economically for the city of Louisville, which we're all excited about. But before we really get into the fun stuff, I do think it's important to talk a little bit about the seriousness of a weather event that occurred in Louisville about 3 weeks ago, in which a tornado touched down in Louisville. There was severe flooding all through the Ohio River, the Ohio Valley, so much so that the big kickoff event for Kentucky Derby festivities is called Thunder over Louisville, which is a massive fireworks display. They shoot the fireworks across the bridge that connect Kentucky and Indiana to downtown Louisville. Huge vendors. It's an all-day party. It's an all-day festival. The Blue Angels usually do a flyover show. It's just a great day of fun, and again, a huge economic boom for our city. This year they had to cancel it because of the weather, which in the scheme of things, there are people across the country that lost their lives at this event. There's people who lost their homes and lost everything. So canceling a festival day or a party day seems like it's way down on the list of priorities, but the city feels it. And we feel it. And it's something that, I hope we don't forget. We don't forget our friends and our family and our coworkers who were affected by that weather event. So this Derby coming in is a little bit different. We didn't have the full celebration than we normally do, but we're doing our best. I believe they had the half marathon and the full marathon last Saturday. Cindy, I think you have partaken in some pre-Derby events as well. What have you experienced this year?
Well, I mean, just so our listeners know, there's typically, the whole month is full. Even on the weeknights, there's something almost every night for the entire month between Derby kickoff and actual Derby. This year, I tried something new, which I now find I have a new event that is now my favorite. It's called Dawn at the Downs. And we get up super early. I think my kids and I and my whole family, we were up by 5, and we were standing in line down at Churchill Downs by 6:45 a.m. And it's, my kids are 10 and 7, so they were clearly not happy about the early wake up call. But as soon as we got there, you go into Churchill Downs. There's no assigned seats. You get there super early so you can get up by the rail, and then you get to watch all the horses work out between 6:45, and you can be there till 10. But the Derby and the Oaks horses have a special reserve time at 7:15 in the morning. So you get to see a lot of the Oaks and Derby contenders out there working out. It is it's quiet. You can hear the horses running. It was phenomenal. So if anybody gets a chance to go, I highly recommend it. I kind of had poo-pooed it, I'll be honest, up until this year. And I was like, I want to try it at least once. And because I've heard so many good things about it, I did it. Worth it. Recommend it.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great time. And now we have an eyewitness. There's no way she can miss, everyone. She was up at the crack of dawn, literally watching the horses run. She knows what she saw, and she knows who the favorite's going to be. But before we get to that, before we get to picks, which is why everyone's here, we know it. But I love horse names. So, I reviewed the list of the 20 horses in the Derby. Cindy, favorite horse name. This is not who's going to win. This is just horse name or horse story. What do you think? What one do you want to talk about here real quick?
So my favorite horse name for this year is going to be Sandman, because every time I hear that, I hear the Metallica song playing, and it just I think Sandman is my favorite horse's name this year. How about you, Corey?
Pat, why don't you work on getting copyright for an Inner Sandman drop right here real quick? Adam will pay the royalties, so just go ahead and lead that in. Great pick. I picked my favorite horse name based on a musical connection as well. It is going to be Render Judgment. And for those of you who don't know, Cindy's laughing, she does know. Toby Keith, pretty famous country music artist. Fun fact, he's banned from my hometown in Eastern Kentucky because he got in a fight at a concert at a festival called Hillbilly Days with a patron. That's a whole different story. I wasn't there, promise. But Toby Keith, country music artist, has great songs. Whiskey for My Men, Beer for My Horses, Ain't As Good As I Once Was. Big country music artist. The horse that he sadly passed away from cancer last year, or maybe a couple of years ago now at this point, but he was an owner of the horse Render Judgment. Horse was an alternative, made it into the field because there's a scratch. Extreme long shot here. I think the last time I checked, going off at 30-1. If you're looking for a long shot flyer that might have a little bit of momentum, it's a feel good story. Maybe you put a little bit of cheddar on Render Judgment, but that horse is the story and the name that kind of jumped out to me on the screen there.
You know what? I have one more. It's one. I like the story of it. I don't know that I would. If we're talking a little bit of, I like the name Chunk of Gold, and that one is that horse would be. They are definitely a long shot. They have a great name. I'm definitely gonna, if you want a long shot, that's a good one, by the way.
Absolutely. I love it. So, Cindy, I think you already hit one of the favorites. Let's talk a little bit about some of the horses that have people's eyes, right? Where's the money and what's the story behind it? So from what I pulled together, we have 3 horses that I would put in our favorite bucket, right? So we have Sandman, which you mentioned. I believe he's going off at 6-1. Sovereignty, another horse going off 6-1. They're basically being handicapped the same, but the odds on favorite right now is a horse called Journalism. As of this morning, I think he was going off 7-2. So I think he was down as low as 2-1 at some point with some early money coming in on him. So this is the heavy betting favorite. Out of those 3, Cindy, is Sandman, because of your strong love for Metallica and Lars Ulrich, is Sandman the one out of that favorites bucket that you like the most?
I have no Journalism. I'm kind of on with Journalism, but there's one that I think, are we going to go into the next bucket soon? Because I have one that I wanted to talk about, which is okay.
So I have a contenders bucket.
Okay, all right. So we have contenders. All right. So I think for the favorites, Journalism, I know that's really predictable, but that one I'm on with. How about you?
Yeah, so I'm going to withhold because one of these is part of my trifecta pick. So I don't want to give it away. We got to make everyone wait for that. So those are the 3 favorites: Sandman, Sovereignty, Journalism. I have the next bucket is contenders. And the contenders I have my eyes on here, Cindy, Burnham Square, who just won Keeneland. For those of you who don't know, the Bluegrass Stakes. In Lexington, Kentucky. Keeneland is a world-class facility. They do horse racing very well. It's a big event down in Lexington, about an hour down the road from us. He just came off a win at the Bluegrass Stakes. And then 2 others that I marked for contenders, I have Rodriguez and Luxor Cafe. Did I hit either of the ones that you're looking at there, Cindy?
Exactly. So I like Rodriguez because Bob Baffert is the trainer and Mike Smith is the jockey. And if you guys, Bob Baffert should ring some bells if you've watched any horse racing at all, because he's won multiple Kentucky Derbies at Churchill Downs and throughout his entire career. And this is his first year back after a small hiatus for some disciplinary action. And I actually saw him Friday night at dinner. He was at the same restaurant. So chatted with him for just a quick second and wished him luck. So I'd have to say Rodriguez is definitely one of my favorites of those between Luxor Cafe and Rodriguez for sure.
Breaking news, Cindy rubs elbows with horse training legends in her spare time. So why she's still at Phia, I don't know. Maybe it's just for the great health plan. Maybe it's because she loves subrogation that much, or maybe it's both. But that's a great story. It is always interesting who you can run into in Louisville during this time of the year. And really the answer is you could run into anyone from presidents to the ultra famous and wealthy to, me. And that would be, you would draw the short straw if you run into me in Louisville. You can catch me here anytime. I really like Luxor Cafe out of this contenders bucket. Sired by American Pharoah, the last Triple Crown winner. I think that he's going off at 15-1, which is some good value there. And Cindy, we've recapped some horses. I think it's time. I think we'll get into our picks for the trifecta. Now, for everyone who doesn't know, let me set this up. Cindy and I are going to pick a horse that we think is going to win, but don't listen to that. That's fine. That's whatever. In gambling terms, and again, this is for entertainment purposes only, everyone. This is not advice. You should not stake a mortgage or anything on what we're going to say, but I did win last year, if you would have listened to me. Then we're going to do something that I like to do for the Kentucky Derby, and it's how to bet it and how to try to maximize your return on what you're going to bet. And the best way that I found to do that is something called a trifecta, which is basically you're going to bet what horse comes in first, second, and third. So you're going to get a list of 3 horses. And if you so choose, and you're in a state where gambling is legal and you're not going to your bookie behind Walgreens, and don't do that. Use your affiliated app, DraftKings or ESPN Bets or whatever. If you can do that in the state that you're in, I would recommend to take this combination that you're getting ready to hear from Cindy and I, and you box it. And basically what that is, you're going to take your 3 horses, then you're going to bet every combination, and that way you're covered. So no matter what combination that your horses come into, if you pick the 3 right horses on the trifecta box, you're guaranteed to win. It's going to cost you a little bit more because you have to bet every combination, but it's the quick and easy way to do that. So, Cindy, if you're just going to pick a winner, if you weren't looking for the investment or the gambling or to make it spicy, if you're just going to pick a winner, where are you going to go for your winner?
That's a tough one, Corey. I think I have a feeling about Luxor Cafe. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, that would be
a long shot.
A long shot. Yeah. How about you?
I like if I were just going to pick a winner, I like Sovereignty. Sovereignty got an inside draw. Post 5 to 15 have produced an inordinate amount of winners over the last 20 years. Journalism is the betting favorite. The odds-on favorite has not won the Derby since 2018. So I'm staying in that favorites bucket. If I was just going to pick a winner, I think I would pick Sovereignty for the winner there. So that's who I would pick to win straight up. But Cindy, this is what we're all here for. We're here to make some people some money. So betting a trifecta. What are your 3 horses to win, place, and show in the Run for the Roses this coming Saturday?
I have Journalism, Rodriguez, and Luxor Cafe.
Okay, so you're going to box those. That's Journalism, Rodriguez, and Luxor Cafe. Now, that's going to pay pretty well because I believe you're not getting a lot of value on Journalism. That's the betting favorite. But Rodriguez coming off 12-1, Bob Baffert horse. Luxor Cafe coming off 15-1. That's going to be a pretty penny. That's going to be a pretty payday if you happen to hit the Cindy Merrell version of the trifecta. So I like that. I like those picks. I think those are all valid picks there.
Now for what all of our listeners have come to hear, the Corey Crigger Derby 151, we want to know what your top 3 picks.
My top 3 picks. So we have one in common. I really like Luxor Cafe. I think Luxor Cafe is going to have a good race here. I think the value is good. And I said this last year, I'll reiterate it. When I pick a trifecta, you obviously you want to pick it correctly so you can win money, but you also want to do it in a way that's going to maximize your value. So the way that I look at it is you take two horses that look like the favorites that you think are definitely going to be there, and then you want to sprinkle in a medium of the road horse to a long shot. So my medium of the road horse pick of this trifecta is Luxor Cafe, Triple Crown winner as a sire. I think I think that's a good pick. My other two are the actual two other favorites. I think it's Sandman, and Sovereignty. So my trifecta this year: Sovereignty, Sandman, Luxor Cafe. You box those three, and then you just count your money. Go ahead and spend your money. Actually, you've already won because I've already said it to be so. Now, of course, that's not true. Don't do that. And I'm not saying my employment's at stake here, but Adam is pretty adamant that I need to get this right again in order for me to continue to have a platform here on the Empowering Plans podcast. But we'll see. What are the odds of hitting it twice in a row? 2 years in a row? We'll see. But again, we have Cindy's picks of Journalism, Rodriguez, Luxor Cafe. That's the Cindy Merrell version of the trifecta there. My version would be Sandman, Sovereignty, and Luxor Cafe. And let me tell you about one other race I really like. I really like the Oaks. I like the Oaks on Friday. Now, I haven't done enough research to give a trifecta pick out for the Oaks, but what I will say is that the horse Simply Joking. Now, this is kind of a meme horse. It's a little bit of a meme horse, but it's getting some good buzz. I've heard that they're talking about it on the back straight. Even at dawn at the Derby, Cindy. Simply Joking. This is a crowd-sourced horse. You could actually go online right now. I'm not going to plug it. You could go online and buy a share of this horse for $50. The last horse they did this with was Mage, which is a Derby winner.
Yeah.
So you could own a fraction of this horse for $50. You would be an owner. He's going off at 12-1 right now. Simply Joking on the Oaks. Kind of a longer shot, but again, this group has this consortium that does this kind of crowd-funded horse sharing, has had a Derby winner in their portfolio before, so I like Simply Joking on the Oaks on Friday.
Excellent. And I just want to confirm, Corey, you are going to actually bet this year on the picks that you just made.
I mean, I don't want. This is what I told Adam last time is, do you really want me to bet my own picks this time, or do you want me to keep making money for everyone else? I'm a superstitious person. I wear the same Kentucky t-shirt when Kentucky plays big games. If I bet this and it doesn't hit, the reason is that everyone made fun of me and I felt that I compelled to have to bet my own picks. But yeah, I will bet my own trifecta this year. We'll make sure we get it locked in. That way I can share in the spoils with everyone that listened to Empowering Plans last year.
All right. Well, thank
Cindy,
you so much.
It was a great time as always. Hopefully I get at least one horse right. Otherwise, we might not be back next year for a Derby preview, but hopefully we will. Hope you guys had fun tuning in, listening to the Empowering Plans podcast. It's the most fun podcast that I do all year, is this Derby preview with Cindy. Pat, thank you so much for taking time out of your week. He wasn't scheduled to do a podcast this week. We really strong-armed him. Everyone, have fun, gamble responsibly, enjoy the Derby, have a mint julep, be with your friends. It's a great day. And for all of us here at Phia, thank you for tuning in.